Hello everyone and welcome back to Hattons. It's me and Dave here once again for the second episode of our brand new series, Platform 1, which is our weekly show taking a look at all the latest news, offers and all the other goings on in the model railway world here at Hattons.
Absolutely, and we've got a lot to cover this week, I think. There's been another jam-packed week full of model railway news, as you can see some of the items on the desk here in front of us, and we've also got a couple of surprises as well, so stay tuned for those to come through.
Really looking forward to this one.
Now, one thing we do have to get out of the way to start with, we know that a lot of people will have questions regarding the backman orders, and we do recommend they go straight to our customer experience team who are available on telephone, email or Facebook message, whichever way you want to get in touch. We do recommend that you go through that channel to get to them.
That's it. So, myself and Dave will be here for about the next hour or so. We have got a lot to get through today. It's jam-packed. We've got a lot of really fun stuff to tell you about. It's a really varied stream today, so I hope you really hope you guys enjoy it. Look forward to seeing all your questions in the comments, so do feel free to pop those in there. And one of our lovely assistants will be passing those over to me as the show goes on. So,
Where should we start? I think we should start by looking at Hornby's new Mark IIF. If you've got any questions that come up, please do let us know as we go through it. And the blue-grey livery you see there has arrived into stock this week. There's actually two variations of those that have come out this year so far, which is the Intercity livery from the 1980s and the BR blue-grey, which is from slightly earlier. But this particular livery, as you can see there, is going through a bit of a resurgence at the moment as well. You can still see these in mainline use right up until the current day, being used by Transport for Wales and a couple of rail tow companies. So those of you who have a real passion for the BR Blue era, but also want something modern image on your layout, this really is something for you. And as you can see in the images there's a couple of different types. We've just shown the first open, and now you can see the standard second open. So the Hornby have catered for all the different toolings there. They also do a brake second open as well. And they're £31.50 each, and we've got stock of the Intercity and the blue and grey versions now.
So that enables you to run a full, realistic train with those, doesn't it? Because you've got all the different coach types available and all the correct tooling variations for each one to make sure it looks as it should be. And they really are cracking things, aren't they, for the price? The level of detail here, especially on the underframe and stuff, is fantastic. You've got the full interior detail there with the tables and chairs, and it's just the wonderful things, really.
It really is a sort of miniature marvel. It's a great model, and as said, so versatile as well. And the bonus there is, if you have a look at our listings, which is in the description below, they've also made multiple running numbers of each coach as well, so you don't have to have the same running number on each coach going around your layout.
Saves you having to renumber them yourself then as well.
That's it. So if you do want a couple more open coaches, or you want more of the first class coaches, you can double up and get a few different ones. And
like you slightly touched on there, they've had a massive sphere of operation in the Mark IIS, haven't they? Yes. So there's a lot of areas of the country that you could model these in. Obviously they saw a lot of use in Scotland, and they're still in use in Wales and Anglia and quite a few places today, aren't they?
That's it. And I know we have a loyal following of people who enjoy their diesel and electric modelers, so hello to you guys. Glad to have you here. And they're just a fantastic model that's coming through, and if these aren't the liveries for you, there's more to come as well. I mean, we've got Network Rail, we've got ScotRail as well, I believe.
Yeah, ScotRail is I think it's TSO and then BSO for those that are coming through. And then obviously the Network Rail, that's where things get a little bit interesting. You've got your pattern line recognition vehicle, I think, coming through, and then there's another one. So there's some real interesting stuff there. And obviously they're still out and about all over the place doing infrastructure monitoring.
And they're not too far away either. It's looking like they're going to come in late summer, early autumn. And again, at that price point of £31.50. So if you really like the look of the Mark IIFs, take a look at the blue-grey ones and the Intercity now. But if you want a different livery, something a bit more modern, they are coming later in the year. And
it's really nice to see all these coaches coming through so quickly, isn't it? And, they complement so many great locomotives out there in the range, especially from the likes of Hornby as well. So there's a lot you can run these with. So It's a great time.
And one question we did have prior to the live stream on our Facebook page, where you can leave questions for the live stream, by the way, if anything comes to mind, is what radius curves do these go around? Now, you can get these down to second radius. We did try them on first, but it got a little bit tight, to be honest with you, so I wouldn't quite recommend it. But on second radius, they look absolutely beautiful. The coupling mechanism really does enable them to get quite close as well, so they look really realistic together.
They are very close, these NEMs, aren't they? And it's got quite a good degree of mobility there, so it's not too much of a problem for flexibility.
That's it. Just a really nice model all around, and so versatile for nearly 50 years of operation.
Tracking things. Right, so where do we go from there? I think we need to talk about another Hornby release, which is also sitting on this table today. Something a little magical, perhaps.
Oh, well, if you insist, I think we should take a look.
Right, so next up, we've got something that's been highly anticipated from a lot of customers for a while, is the new version of Harry Potter, new version of Hornby's fantastic Harry Potter train set. Now, we've had a few different releases to do with this, so we've got the Harry Potter train set, and I think we've got a bit of a special video to show you guys.
Well, let's take a look.
Let's cut to that. So as you can see there, we've had this fantastic new train set come in this week, and it really does look the part this time, doesn't it? We've got the Hall class locomotive there.
Well, this is where it gets a little different than previous releases, as the actual locomotive, even though it is named Hogwarts Castle, is actually a Hall class locomotive.
It's threw a few people off, that one, hasn't it?
It has actually. It's caused a couple of quick questions, that one. And this is actually the first time that Hornby have authentically used a Hall locomotive in the actual model of the Hogwarts Castle. So it's great to see that there. And this particular model comes with a superb little addition on the front, not only of the Hogwarts Express headboard, but also the light as well. As you can see on the image there at the moment, it's got a fully working light to light the way to Hogsmeade, and that will come through. And it's just great to see that loco there. And of course, the real life locomotive was used for filming all over the country and operated on some rail tours as well throughout the 2000s, while they were really making the scene with the Harry Potter and the Hogwarts Express. So it's not only a good set for fans of the magical realm, so to speak, but also a really good opportunity for modern image modelers to have a bit more of an individual rail tour on the layout as well, with the loco going around the country for book tours and film tours, etc., and being used on Wizard Expresses too, right up until about 2014.
There is a lot of excuses for it, really, isn't it?
There is.
Like Dave said, you can see that the headlight is really bright, isn't it? It's really quite something. It's quite a strong LED they've used there. So you can create a few realistic scenes from the films if you want. And one thing that's really nice is just the level of detail that they have gone to with this model for Potter fans, really. So you've got, as we said, the working light there, which is something a little bit different for this locomotive. And you've got the headboard with the Hogwarts Express insignia on there as well. And you've got the fully accurate lined livery for Hogwarts Railways, so it really does look the part. And you get the correct coaches along with it too, which are also in this Hogwarts Railways livery. So it really does look the part.
And the set does come complete. We couldn't quite fit all the parts out here, but take a look at the link in the description, and we have the full description for what you do get in the set. And that includes a third radius oval of track also, controller, the two coaches and the locomotive, so everything to get you started. And one question we did get asked as well was, third radius, what size does that equate to? Now we have fully accurate measurements on our website that can be seen, but that does work out just over 1.5 meters by just over 1 meter or so. So if you check out our website description, we've got the measurements down to the exact millimeter, but that gives you an idea of the size if you're thinking of this for you.
That's it. And it's not just the train set that's coming as part of this range. So we've already had an extra edition for the range as well, which is the platform 9 3/4 platform kit. So if you did want to recreate that scene, one of the scenes from the films at King's Cross, you can do that. You've got the full platform set with the canopy, footbridge, and some really nice little retaining walls with the 9 3/4 logo on it. And we've also got quite a bit more coming through, haven't we, for Harry Potter?
There's a lot more to come. There's a full range coming into stock this year, and a lot of the remaining ranges of the Hogsmeade station. So a lot of separate buildings, as you can see there, the station buildings, the platforms, the porters' offices, etc., etc. And that is based not only on Hogsmeade, but the actual real-life location, the that Hogsmeade Station was filmed, which is Goathland on the North Yorkshire Moors Railway. And all these items are available to pre-order now. The set and the platform 9 3/4 can be bought today, but the Hogsmeade Station can be pre-ordered now with delivery over the next couple of months.
Yeah. And the locomotive will be available separately on its own, as will the coaches too. If you wanted to perhaps expand your train with some more coaches to make an even more realistic scene, you can do that as well. So if you head to that link in the description, like Dave says, it's all there to find, and the stuff that's out now is available right now, or you can pre-order the forthcoming stuff too. So it's a really fun time if you're a Potter fan, isn't it?
It really is, and it's been quite a few years since any Harry Potter train sets have been available as well, and there's been a lot of demand for them, a lot of people asking for them, and to be honest as well, they've sold really well so far. We've only had them in a couple of days, and they've
been flying out.
Are they flying, or are they apparating, or however well,
we've had the owls delivering them out today, haven't we? So Hedwig flew in before and took one off. So just checking the chat as well. A lot of people are really excited about this set. So David Costin, he says that the Hogwarts Express does look really great.
It really does.
Andrew Bootle says, so it's the Hogwarts Express, something to get my son, not for me, you understand? I think a lot of people will be using that excuse, Andrew. So Sheena Wells likes it as well. And the 700 Shunter says, if you could introduce another locomotive into the Harry Potter series, which would you choose and why?
Oh, it'd have to be a more modern locomotive for me, I think. I don't know what type, but definitely something more modern to contrast with the steam.
Well, I suppose with that Scottish theme there, there's a lot of options, really. I think you'd want to go for a 37, wouldn't you?
but for now, I think it's the Hall for me. And as Jack said, you can buy the locomotive separately later in the year, but if you want the whole package right now, the locomotive, the coaches, the oval of track and the controller, everything to get you started, that can be ordered right now by clicking the link in the description, and it's £180.
Great stuff, innit? Right, just check if there's any more comments on this that we can talk about. Bluegrass Rail Fan is back again, and he says it's a sharp looking train even though he's never read any of the Harry Potter books. So there you go, even if you're not a massive Potter fan, it's a great looking set, even if you just want to get into...
That's an angle I've not really thought, actually. It is a very nice model. It's based on a Great Western locomotive, the Hall class. And regardless of the Harry Potter colour scheme, so to speak, and the history behind it, etc., it is just a beautiful model in itself. It's fully DCC ready. It's got NEM couplings. It's highly detailed. It's a nice model in itself.
You can see all the separately fitted parts here and all the handrails. It's got a really nice cab interior as well. It's got good weight to it as well, so it should be quite an effective hauler. And it's an unusual colour scheme for one of these locomotives, isn't it? It's not usual that you see a maroon livery for a locomotive like that. So it's something a little bit different. And like you said before, you could easily argue that for a rail tour or some sort of unusual like advertising gimmick or something. There's always an option with model rails.
There's always an opportunity.
We've also got Ben Davis here that also he thinks it looks amazing as well. Do remember that anything you want to put in the comments, any questions, we'll try and answer them for each topic we can. For each one coming up, just feel free to leave your comments there, and we'll see what we can do. Right. So where are we up to now?
I think this is going to get interesting now, isn't it?
Oh, we've got a bit of a special one for you today, haven't we?
Is this a surprise?
I think it is time for our little surprise.
Okay, let's go for the surprise. So... we have some breaking news, and this is a first for one of our live streams. We are announcing products today. This is the first time these have been seen anywhere. This is not one, but 6 new Metcalfe kits in Engage, which are available to order now via the link in the description. Yeah, we very kindly were offered the chance to take an exclusive look at these by Metcalfe. And these are a lovely little selection of kits for Engage modelers. And there's quite a few different options which we'll put on screen for you now. So we've got these nice low relief shop. It's a shop and a bank set there. Another one, which should be following on after this, which is another row of shops. And then there's also, I believe there's a building sheets for stonework. Yes.
And there's even some really nice engine sheds in there as well. So we've got a red brick style and a mixed stone style. And the final one that we've got is this farm set, which you can see on screen now, which comes with a barn. It's got other little sheds and chicken coops and stuff. Yeah, all the accessories you need, and everything you see there is now available to pre-order on our website with stock expected over the next few days. And
I've always loved these Metcalfe kits. They are absolutely fantastic quality detail for the price. The engine sheds you saw there are available at £12.50. The smaller kits, the brick shops, etc., and the manor farm buildings are available at £9.50. So they're coming in, and they're just great for the price. They really
are quite something. When you take a close look at these, once they're built, of course, the detail in the printing is just absolutely beautiful. It makes for a really convincing scene, and for that money, you really can't go wrong. They really do look quite effective. That's
absolutely it, and they have kits available for 00 and Engage when we stock the full range as well. There, I had a quick count before we came on air, and I lost track at 100, to be quite honest with you. But there's so much variety in the range, and they're perfect not only for beginners because they go together so easily and they're so easy to put together, but also for dedicated sort of high-end modelers, shall we say, because of the high quality of detail you can get from them as well. And there's pretty much something for everyone in those ranges. There's railway buildings, sort of street scenes, etc., but also more towards the interesting, quirky edge as well. You've got things like pub benches and platforms, scenics, etc. So have a look at the range. I mean, the 6 new items, as said, are available to order right now from clicking the link in the description. And thanks to the guys at Metcalfe for letting us announce those on our stream today. But we do have a full range of items there, which are perfect for every modeler from beginner to expert.
The beautiful thing about these is just how, like, with a card kit, you do have that ability to customize these as well. It is a lot easier to kind of fiddle around on these if you wanted to. If you wanted to rename the shop to something else,
yes.
If you wanted to add another entrance to the building, it really is quite an easy job to do. And for the price point that you're getting these in, you really can play around with these things and get the look that you really want to go for.
And one thing I love as well, regular viewers of our channel will know I love a good instruction manual. And these come with great instruction manuals to put them together as well. So if you're not too sure, if you're not feeling too confident, but you do want some interesting and unique buildings on your layout, Metcalfe kits are the way to go.
That's it. And if you, like Dave said, if you head to that link in the description, we've got an article which features not just these 6 brand new kits, but there is a link to our whole manufacturer area for Metcalfe as well, so you can explore the entire range. And there really is a diverse selection and loads of stuff to find. So if you're in the market for some new buildings or some new bits of scenery on your layout, you can't really go wrong.
There's something for everyone in the range, and they're great fun to put together. I fully recommend them.
The chat is absolutely lighting up with chat about Metcalfe,
really?
Which is really nice to see. I'm really glad you guys liked that announcement there. So Sammy D Films says he really likes the stone shed. Onno Mulder says just awesome sets. Sheena Wells also thinks they're really great.
Fantastic.
Evanswood Central says he likes the Railway Tavern. I believe that's part of the low relief shop set.
It is, yes.
Bluegrass Rail Fan says, nice, I was thinking about picking up a building kit or 2 recently, and he's never tried a card kit before. So
fully recommend them, and let us know how you get on as well. Be quite interested to hear your story.
That's it. Ewan's Trains and Buses says these look good, and it's a nice thing to add to his new Engage layout. So there's some really great stuff for you there, Ewan. There's a few different options to add something new.
Not 1, but 6 things to look at there, and that's just the new items as well. There's even more on the website.
There is really good high-res images on our website as well, so if you need to take a closer look at those, see what the shop names are, see what sort of brickwork it is and stuff like that, you can see everything that you need to know.
And with the majority of kits on there as well, we do include the floor plan, so you can see the size that they build up to. So if you've got a little spot on your layout and you're not quite sure what will fit, the plans are available on there as well, so you can almost try before you buy, so to speak.
And like Dave's mentioned, once you've got them, the instruction manuals are so easy to follow. They're so clear. They really make it easy for you to construct these things together. Couple more comments here. We've got Penny Hill Junction says they're great fun to build. I agree. I've had a lot of fun building a few of these kits over time.
I think here's one we prepared earlier.
It's
been here for a few years now, but it's still standing. The 00 gauge shop there, the low relief shop. Again, to say that, we've put our own branding on there.
Yeah, I was going to say, it kind of points out how, if you want to, you can customise that. So we made our own old school Hattons store there. So you really can get these exactly how you want them. Graham M says, can we expect to see the same buildings from Metcalfe in 00?
A lot of the buildings are already available in 00, certainly some of the Settle and Carlisle range and the brick-built engine sheds. Take a look at the link in the description and head through to the range there, as Jack just mentioned, And everything we have available from Metcalfe, which is the full range that they make at the moment, is available to order there. If you don't quite find what you're looking for, drop in a message to our customer experience team and we'll help you along the way.
Excellent. So a couple more comments before we move on to our next section. So Ali Wakeford says he thinks they're really cheap when you consider the fine printing. I totally agree. The price point, there's nothing else you can really go for this market.
Fantastic value for money.
Yeah,
they really are.
And just the look they give is amazing. And then Gareth Waite says, they look great. Do you have them on your railway? And Dave, how is your joint project going with David?
Oh, the joint project's still on the way. We're not quite doing as much as we want to at the moment on it, but we are working on it. Too busy here with all the latest new releases, really. But I do have a couple of Metcalfe kits on my own layout, and I should add some images to our website, actually. So I'll look into that. That's a little project for me for the weekend.
Might be something for a future stream as well. You never know. Right. So that's Metcalfe. What we're going to talk about next, we've got the Dapol new updates.
I think we've got to look at the next Dapol locomotives.
Definitely.
Because I love the colour schemes on these. And these are the Class 21 and 29. These are the Type 2 locomotives, the North British. And these are the first images of the decorated samples that have come through from Dapol. It's two types of locomotive, but all from the same place, so to speak. So the 21s were built in the sort of late 1950s, early 1960s, and mainly used in Scotland, but they were re-engined, and a Paxman power unit was put in there, and then they came through as the Class 29. So there's some detail differences, some parts that are the same, and Dapol have been developing these models to come through to cater for both locomotives as well, both classes. And again, as you could see in the images there's quite a lot of different colour schemes, even though they didn't have that longer life as well.
Yeah, because like you were saying about them being re-engined, I believe the 21s, they were a little bit underpowered, weren't they? And they didn't really find their stride too well. I think they came into it a little bit more once they were converted to the 29s, but even then, they didn't get a huge lifespan. But they still saw quite a bit of use, didn't they? And you saw quite a variety of the BR Blue and the BR Green schemes there. And from the image as well, you can see how Dapol's done a really great job of showing off the different tooling variations that they're going to produce. So
Dapol has recently brought a lot of high quality 00 diesels to the market and multiple units as well. We've had the Class 68, we've had the GWR railcar, and the Class 21s and 29s look like they're just going to continue along that level.
Yeah.
And we've been told at the moment that they're going to be in towards the end of the year, sort of late 2019, but you can pre-order those right now. So have a look at that link in the description if we've tempted you with one. They are £129.15 each, unless you want to have them already pre-digital or sound fitted, but all the variations are available on our website to view.
That's it. So the good thing about those as well is there's a lot of rolling stock that is really applicable for that era as well, isn't there? So you can't really go wrong with a lot of stuff.
It really is. The Scottish 1960s scene is one of the most buoyant in model railways. You've got a lot of iconic steam locomotives there, such as your Black Fives and London North Eastern Railway B1s that they'd be suitable with, but also a lot of those classic diesel designs, the Class 26s, the Class 27s, were all starting to come into Scotland in that era, and it's that sort of mid-1960s up to the early 1970s is a really exciting diesel transition era.
Absolutely.
Not only are you losing steam, but a lot of locomotives that really didn't stick around that long are still available there. You've got the Clayton, which you can buy from Helgen at the moment as well. There's so many opportunities to fit these in with a 1960s
it's
collection.
something we've touched on before, is that kind of that era of experimentation and a lot of weird stuff coming through, and loads of different areas of the different regions of British Railways were trying to bring in these different classes and trying out different things and seeing what worked. The 21 and the 29 might not have been one of the most successful ones that came out, but it certainly was an interesting class, and I think it's just really nice to see what is potentially a bit of an overlooked loco getting a new lease of life in the model world, really.
I fully agree. It's time it came back into the limelight, so to speak, and it will do on people's layouts. And as I said, they're available to order now.
I think we've covered most of what we can with those anyway, but if there is any further questions that you have for those, do leave them in the comments and we'll see if we can get to them at some point. If not, like with everything we've talked about in the stream today already, do feel free to get in touch with us after the stream as well. We've got our full help desk team who can answer any question over the phone, email, over social media, whatever way you want to do it.
Certainly.
So, where are we next? Right, we've got some awesome news from Helgen now, haven't we?
Well, I'm quite happy about this, really. With the great 009 announcements last week from Pico, working with Kato on the Small England and the Double Fairley. We have another 009 news segment this week as well. We're keeping it going for the narrow gauge modelers.
I'll be quite glad if there's a bit of narrow gauge featured in every stream. I'm happy for that to happen. So
I thought you might. So
on screen now, you will see the latest CADs for Helgen's Linton and Barnstaple 242T Baldwin locomotive. Now, this is Lynn, isn't it, from the L&B Railway? And there was only one built originally, wasn't there?
There was. Now, this is a really exciting locomotive because this is a period where very few locomotives were imported to the UK, and this was actually built by Baldwin in America for the opening of the line in 1898, and that was used on the Linton and Barnstaple Railway in North Devon.
I believe that period, wasn't it, due to strikes over working hours and stuff, they actually exported it out to different countries.
I believe so.
Hence why we got a few unusual locomotives coming through.
It's a rare example of a sort of Victorian foreigner in the camp almost, really. And the loco ran right up until 1935 when it was scrapped after the closure of the Linton and Barnstaple Railway. But there's been a preservation movement keeping the railway alive ever since, and slowly but surely they are reopening the railway as well. I believe they've got a few miles at the moment, and they've just built a replica of Lynn.
They have, and I believe with the replica they've made it as faithful as they can to the original prototype. They use the drawings and stuff like that. But thanks to the miracle of modern engineering and CAD design and stuff like that, they've been able to make a locomotive that looks fantastic on the surface, but also is much easier to run and much more efficient as well. So it really is an interesting time for the real narrow gauge railways and for the Linton and Barnstaple Railway. But it's going to be a great one for model form as well, with this one covering that original build of Lynn.
And this follows on from Helgen's already available model of the Manning-Wardle locos that ran on the same line. There's 3 currently available, and then there's more being developed at the moment, due into stock over the next couple of months. And they have confirmed with the Baldwin as well that pretty much every variation in the tooling will be catered for, including different steam pipes and smoke box doors and headlights. It really is going down to the minute detail on that locomotive throughout its 38-year history.
I think that's the kind of beauty of it, with there only being one constructed.
Yes.
It really is easy to get all those variations coming through. So they're producing 6, aren't they? And it covers quite a few different liveries from its lifespan. You've got the original plain black livery, you've got the L&B green liveries, and you've got SR liveries as well. So I think Helgen has made a few little amendments with the launch of these CADs as well, but we've updated our listings now so you can see exactly what you're going to get.
Yep, all the listings on our website are fully accurate for deliveries that are being made, and they are available to pre-order now as well.
I believe it's 169, but that is an estimated price at the moment. So do keep your eye out on our listings, and we'll keep updating those as soon as we can. So we've got a few comments here on those as well. So Sheena Wells says they look nice. Bluegrass Rail fan says interesting. The cow catchers made him think it was an American loco right away. I agree.
Yeah, he's clocked onto it right away. It really is. It shows off its American heritage quite well. That loco.
It's that little headlamp for me as well. It's just little. It's quite a big headlight, really. Yes. So Ben Davis says, I think he's talking about the 21s. He says they look amazing, but they're not quite for him. King Ori says he was just having a look at the L&B a few hours ago.
Okay.
Must have caught onto our social media or website a bit earlier on, ahead of the game. David Costin says Lynn's looking really good. Sammy B Film says when he was a kid he used to call the L&B the Lantern and Buzzard Railway.
Oh, close enough.
Close enough. When you're a kid, everyone comes up with their own names, I think. So.
One thing that we were asked again before the stream as well is what rolling stock goes with these. Now, it's a great time to look at our 009 rolling stock availability at the moment, because we do have the Linton and Barnstaple coaches and wagons available too, as well as the Manning-Wardle locomotive. So you can already start with a full collection there on a 009 layout. So if you're looking for a home for Lynn, you can really get started and get your collection.
And those Pico L&B coaches are really lovely as well, aren't they? And they'll be a fantastic match if the Helgen's 262 is anything to go by. The 242 is going to be a fantastic looking locomotive. So if it will pair well with those Pico coaches, which is exactly what it's still hauling. The replica is hauling today.
Yes.
If you do take a look at our Facebook profile, there was a post on there yesterday about this, those CAD files, and there's a lovely prototype image there to give you an idea of how you could run a formation with some of the Pico coaches too, so that looks really nice. But I think, like we touched on last week, if you want to go narrow gauge, now's the time to do it, really. There's so much coming through, not just with the L&B stuff, but obviously with Pico's announcements last week, and other items coming through from Pico and other manufacturers like Helgen. I hope it continues this way.
I really do.
Because there is a lot of modelers out there who want to do it. So we've got a couple more comments here. We've got 700 Shunter says he might start a Southern Railway narrow gauge with a couple of the small Englands and double Fairleys. That's one of the beautiful things I find about narrow gauge, is that you can get away with a lot as well. Yes. So, it might be a specific L&B loco that mostly worked on the L&B, or it might be a specific Festiniog railway that mostly worked there. But nowadays with preservation, these things do get moved around all the time. They love to share the locos between the different railways. I was on the Vale of Rydal Railway on Wednesday, and you can see, there's locomotives from there have headed out to different lines in Wales, and vice versa. So they do get around a lot, don't they?
Both replica Linton and Barnstaple locomotives have operated on the Festiniog Railway as well. So if you want to get your orders in for the Englands, the double Fairleys and Lytton, you can have them all together if you wanted all three. You're more than welcome to combine them.
And it's like we were talking about the small England last week being a bit of a what was the word we used last week? A bit of a showing off the railway for the Festiniog. Yeah, that did get around. An ambassador, there we go. That was what I was looking for. That did get around a lot, and it's you could see that on the Bala Railway, you could see that Festiniog, you could see that Vale of Rydal, wherever you want. So it really is quite easy to come up with what you want for your narrow gauge line.
And anyone who does want the information on those exciting Festiniog Railway 009 announcements, check out last week's live stream as well. Check that out on our YouTube channel. It's still up there to view. So all the news from last week, which is still just as exciting, is worth checking out.
Absolutely. And stay tuned to our website and our social media profiles, and there's fully up-to-date news on there as much as we can get out as well. So do check that out. Right, I think something completely different now, isn't it?
I think we've got to move on to the guns now. We've got to move on to the rail gun, and I will bring this forward.
So you can have a good look at that. I'll just pop a quick image on the screen.
There's a lot of it to bring forward. And this is the latest release of Oxford Rail's rail-mounted gun. This is the Bosch Buster, as used in World War II and stationed in the southeast of England in Kent. And this was to repel any attempts at invasion at the time, fortunately, which never came. But the gun was a deterrent as well, and it was never actually fired in action and was scrapped shortly after the war. So it's almost a good thing that it wasn't used. But the model coming through just adds, so much colour there of the camouflage scheme.
It's one that I think people have really been after for a long time, because it's obviously, we had Gladiator coming earlier this year, which was in the plain green livery, but this camouflage really sets the thing off, doesn't it? And it makes it look, it sounds really daft to say this, but it looks very military in that livery, doesn't it? It just looks a bit more extreme. But I can't get over this thing. For the price point that this comes in at, what you get is incredible.
Well, these came in earlier this week and are available to order right now at £51 by following the link in the description as well. And you get a lot of gun for your money as well. I mean, they're almost a foot long, and they are tipping the scales. We had a question before about the weight, and they actually weigh just over 600 grams as well, so there's a lot of weight.
There's a lot going on there, but like we're talking about the length there, if you kind of compare that to, a Mark IIF is a reasonably sized coach.
Yes.
If you compare that to that, there's at least another quarter of a coach there that you can fit on, so it's a huge thing. But one thing that we identified with this when we were doing some content for it is how manoeuvrable it actually is, thanks to these articulated bogies, which are realistic, and the way it runs. We had it on first radius, didn't we? And it had no problem.
It really got down to some of the most tightest curves you could have on any layout, which is phenomenal for an item of such length, really. And it's perfect to run with a lot of different wartime locomotives as well. So we have our own P-class locomotives in the ROD livery, and you can buy it in a pack as well. We are getting more stock of that in October with the Dean Goods locomotive. So that will be coming through. We'll be having more stock of that in October. But if you want the gun, it's available right now at £51.
With that train pack as well, there is a sound fitted version coming through, which I think is going to have some quite interesting sound effects included on it, so you can pre-order that as well. So I'm really excited to test that out.
Oxford Rail have confirmed that will come with gun firing noises on the sound chip as well. So
I know quite a few modelers are going to be very excited about that.
But they really are a model, and the barrel is fully manoeuvrable as well there, and all the detail on the handrails, etc.
I love that you got this sort of rigging here with the ropes as well. That's actually a separately fitted item as well.
Yes.
So and these little cranes too. There is so much going on with it. It's just, even if it's not something that you could regularly use on your layout, it is just an incredible display piece as well, to just something to show off, because it is just an extreme piece of engineering and quite a unique thing that hopefully we'll never see again in the real world, but it's certainly a fascinating item.
And they are flying off the shelves as well, so if you do want one, do check them out right away. I would recommend having a look as soon as possible.
And it's like you touched on before, there is I think we've mentioned this in the past as well, is the fact that wartime modelling area really is coming through now as well. There's a lot of people getting into that scene, so the ROD stuff and your World War II stuff, that's really popular at the moment. So there is locomotives that you could run with this. Like you said, you've got the Oxford Dean Goods in the ROD livery. We've got our very own P-classes in the ROD livery, which amazingly are quite effective at hauling these things. But you might want one either side to give it a bit of a helping hand, but it can do it. But there's a lot of stuff coming through. So if you're into that wartime scene, there is a lot going on.
There is. It's a real growth area of model railways. And check out our website for our full listings of models available in War Department and ROD liveries. And again, if you don't quite find what you're looking for, make sure to get in touch with our customer experience team who can help you along the way.
So we've had quite a few comments in about this one as well. Gareth Waite says, "Hi guys, how are you?" I think we're great today, aren't we?
We're good. We've got a lot to go.
How are you?
All good stuff.
He says himself and his two boys are watching, and he says the gun looks amazing. It certainly is amazing, Gareth. The 700 Shunter says, "What's your favourite wartime livery?"
It's right in front of me. The camouflage scheme on the gun.
It's like I was saying, it really says what it is. It's very sort of over the top like this. It's fantastic.
It's irresistible.
Jake Grossman says he's had it on pre-order for about a year and he can't wait to get his. Ono Mulder says, how many of these cannons were built?
There was 5 built, none of which survived. There is one of the barrels that survives in a military museum in southern England, but otherwise 5 were built and none of the actual rail wagons themselves survive today, unfortunately.
Shame, but interesting piece of history either way. Seanford says, are you licensed to sell guns?
Oh, that's a good question. We're licensed to sell these and we have been sending the orders out, so these we can do.
Thankfully this one doesn't actually fire, so you're not going to hurt yourself when you're operating it. Evanswood Central says he brought the previous one called Gladiator. I know a lot of people did. It flew off the shelves, Gladiator.
It really did.
We're expecting this one to go as well, so get your order in now if you want one.
Definitely.
Right, I think that's enough on the railgun, and now we're on to our own Class 66.
Yes.
So there's been a lot of questions recently about progress updates on the 66. So I think we're going to hand ourselves over quickly to our exclusive commissions manager, David Milet.
Yes, let's speak to Dave.
Thanks, guys. So as you know, I'm here to talk about the Class 66s. Recently, we've been out in China with our factory, finalising all the production and just getting everything ready to be shipped out. Now, unfortunately, during this process, we have come across a slight problem with the PCB boards. It did mean that we were not going to be able to produce the independent lighting on all modes. So we've taken the decision to redo the boards, and that's meant that we can have full independent lighting on all modes. So if you're using it on analog, with a 2-function, 4-function, 6-function, or full 12-function sound decoder, you'll be able to independently control the lights. Now, this has put a slight delay onto the production line, so the new delivery date for the Class 66s is going to be December, unfortunately, but it does mean that the lighting will be completely perfect for every model that you get. But that it's also meant it's allowed us to introduce some new exciting things with the Class 66s, but we can't tell you them until they've been released. There is one other thing as well. We've decided to introduce a new type of postage and delivery for the Class 66s. It's going to be a new expedited way of bringing them to the market. So if you'd like your Class 66 before everyone else, you'll be able to add an extra product to the system, which on your orders will mean that we will air freight your Class 66 directly from the factory to ourselves, cutting around 6 weeks off the delivery time. Now this is going to add an extra £10 onto the price of the loco, but it does mean you'll get it way before everyone else. So if you'd like to add that, if you head over to the Class 66s, in the description there'll be a link from Monday, and you'll be able to add that to your order. Now it does need to be added to your existing order. You can't place a new order just for those, and it is per locomotive. So if you've got 2 or 3 on, you'll need 2 or 3 of these services. But if you can't wait, you can ring the help desk straight away and add it to your order. But if you don't mind waiting, Monday they'll go live on the system. Just go to one of the Class 66s. There'll be a link in the description, and you can add it to your thing. But for £10, it does mean you're cutting 6 weeks off the delivery time, and you'll get them first. Right, so hope that was some exciting news as well as the slight delay. But yeah, I'll hand you back over to the guys. Thanks.
Well, thanks for the update, Dave. I hope that answers a few questions, and I'm certainly curious to find out what those surprises are.
Yeah, me too.
Check out some of the links in the description as well for more information about the Class 66.
Yeah, and as Dave said, there's going to be more information about the delivery options and stuff like that on Monday. So keep an eye on our website. We'll be putting out everything then, put things out via social media, and inform people by email too. So I hope that's answered a few little questions on the 66 there for you, and we're just really glad to give another update on that project. Couple little comments have popped in about it. Gareth Waite says the 66 looks great. New Junction is in the chat and he says it makes a great Christmas present. I totally agree.
That's a good point, it does.
King Ori also said he can't decide what to get for Christmas now because of that. Evanswood Central says he'd like to see a 66 in load hall black and orange one day. You never know, that might be something that could happen in the future. Penny Hill Junction says it's a great decision and he's glad that we're not cutting corners and making sure that we got everything right first time. And as New Junction said, it makes a great Christmas present. So glad all you guys are going to be getting a 66 under the tree this year, hopefully. Jake Grossman says the air freighting direct from the factory sounds awesome and a good way to claw back some of the time. Absolutely. And New Junction said he'll take the one on the shelf behind Dave. Unfortunately, we can't give that one away.
No, it's part of the set.
So moving on to something a little bit different again now, we've got some really interesting news from the Real Railway, and this is something that might interest a few guys in the comments who from across the pond.
Yes.
We've got the amazing Big Boy locomotive. Now, we heard the news that very recently this gargantuan loco has been steamed again for the first time, number 4014. It's back on the main line after about 59 years since the last time one of these things operated. And it's currently on this massive tour of the Midwest states of the US. And
the real loco has been purchased again by Union Pacific, who owned it originally, for full overhaul and for use as a touring locomotive. And it's taken them almost 5 years to refurbish it from, well, not derelict condition, but certainly in a stage where it couldn't operate. And that's actually been done over the last few years. And as Jack said, it's on pretty much a stateside tour now of the whole of the US. And that's going through. And the best thing as well is we have a model of it coming out.
Absolutely. So we've got the Riverosi model, which is one of Hogsmeade's international brands. They're producing this fantastic 00 gauge model of the Big Boy, and that's covering number 4014. So this is a bit of a special edition, I think, to coincide with that model being steamed again. And you get a little Union Pacific badge in there and a nice little way to display it. It's a huge thing. The model itself, I think it might even be bigger than the railgun, mightn't it?
A lot of people have been asking when we've publicised this before, just how big is a Big Boy? And we had a bit of a look, and they come in at over 130 feet long in real life, and at almost 560 tons. So there's a reason they call them Big Boys, really, and it's great to see one steaming again. It's actually back again, holding the record of the largest and most powerful steam locomotive operating anywhere
in the world, isn't it? Yeah.
Anywhere at all. It really is a humongous locomotive, and the model is looking fantastic. The real life locomotive is back on the scene. There's rail enthusiasts, or rail fans as they're referred to across the pond, who have really sort of become interested in this and are chasing it all around the country. So it's fantastic to see it back on the rails, and it'll be fantastic to see it on a few layouts towards the end of the year as well.
I think it's just a lovely good news story for the for railways as a whole. It's good for modellers, it's good for rail fans, it's good for everyone really. One thing that does really fascinate me about the big boy as well is this. It's not just the length and the height and the power of the thing. It's other things like the size of the firebox is monumental. I can't remember exactly what it is. I might be wrong here, but it's something like over 100, 150 square foot of firebox.
Right.
It's just it's mind-boggling at that size, and I believe it was built like that due to the slightly poorer quality coal that they had access to at that time that they just weren't able to get in. They had to put tons of coal into these things, like literally tons of coal into these things, to have them performing the way they wanted them to, which is why they needed such a gigantic firebox. But as you can see from the pictures we showed before, the rake that was hauling is huge even today. Like it did have a little bit of backup from a diesel loco on there as well, but there's absolutely loads of coaches behind the thing, which is just a testament to its pulling power really.
And it's fantastic to see as well. I mean, great to cover in this edition of Platform 1 as well, that little and large locomotives from American builders are really coming into prominence. We've got the largest possible locomotive, the big boy that's back in steam and the model coming through, but also Lynn as well, the little 242 locomotive we covered earlier, the narrow gauge engine, and that's coming with a brand new model as well. The replica's just entered traffic in real life. So it's great to see American steam really getting represented across the world.
That's it. It really is coming into vogue a bit, isn't it? So we've got a couple of little things here. So Breezer707 says, what coupling does the big boy have? I believe
it will have NEM couplings on the rear. It will have what's called a Roco coupling, but you can change that over for a British coupling if you wanted to use it on a UK layout.
I suppose in a way that the Flying Scotsman did that USA tour, you could always have your own UK tour of the big boy. I don't really know if it fit into any of our loading gauges, but it's something you could try out on your layout. It's a bit of an interesting trade-off there. Flying Scotsman for a big boy.
I'd like to see it if anyone does it.
And then Ono Mulder says that he thinks the River Rossi big boy looks absolutely stunning. It certainly is, and we're really excited to get that one into stock.
It's a very highly detailed model, and it's great to see it in the same condition that the real locomotives come back in now as well. So if you want to recreate the heyday of the big boys in the 1950s, or you want to recreate one of the rail tours that's happening now with the locomotive back in service, it's the perfect model for you.
That's it. Something great for our customers across the pond as well.
Certainly.
Right. So one extra little addition we've got in the stream today is a bit of a breaking news that we found out just before we came on air, wasn't it?
It really was. As we were taking our seats for the stream today, we received notification from Dappold that we were receiving not one, but two brand new tooling items, either later today or very early next week. And that is the Bogie Bolster E's in double O gauge and the HIA aggregate hoppers in N gauge. Just a little bit too quick to get them on today's stream. We will be featuring them in full next week, but take a look on our website now because we'll have them in stock very, very shortly, and they both look like fantastic new models as well.
If you want to find out more about them as well, do keep an eye on our social media and our website too. We'll provide more updates once they're fully in stock. We'll have some really nice photos to show you there, and like you said, we'll have them hopefully on stream next week to give you a close-up as well. Right. So I think that's covered all of our major topics for the week, hasn't it?
We've had a lot to cover, really. A lot of exciting things, brand new announcements, and almost things so hot off the press it was just arriving as we did.
Yeah, exactly.
So to speak. So you've had the news right up to the wire today, guys. It really is the latest news.
The hottest stuff we've got this week, isn't it? So again as well, thank you very much to Metcalf for giving us that exclusive look at their brand new Engage kit. Like with everything else we've mentioned, every single thing we've talked about, there's links in the description to find out more about them. Got full pages and more images and whatever we can out there for you to take a look at. A lot of stuff is available to order now, or if not, you can pre-order it. And yeah, there's loads of stuff coming through. It's an exciting time.
It's such a range. We've had things today. We've had locomotives and models for double O gauge, 009, N gauge, all different scales. We've had the real locomotives across the pond and in the UK as well. And it just shows again that there's always so much model railway news coming through and real life railway news as well. So keep an eye on our YouTube and social media, etc. That's the best place to always get the latest news, as well as watching Platform 1.
Exactly. So I think we've got time for some more questions. So feel free to pop any last minute questions down there in the chat and we will see if we can get to them. Yeah. We've got a few already here. So we had a couple on Facebook this morning. We had Dan Edwards who said he'd like to see an RHTT in Engage. And then we had Cy Bradbury who's interested to see some early electric multiple units such as the class 302 to 312. So as we mentioned in last week's stream, the best way, if you have any ideas for models or something you'd like to see in the future or any kind of recommendations really, do feel free to get in touch. Our development team are accessible via a special email, which is ideas@hattons.co.uk. Send an email over there with any recommendations, ideas, whatever you want, and that goes straight to them. And we do take every idea seriously, don't they? It all gets logged, so for future endeavours.
And the more people who suggest items, the more ideas we get, and we can gauge a level of interest, what might come through for a model. So who knows, if you've got an idea, do send it through and we'll take a look.
That's it. Mile End Park asks, is there any chance that we could take a look at the painted body sample for the O-Gauge LNER A4s? So we are looking to get some photos out very early next week. So keep an eye out on the website and our social media, and you can see those. We've had quite a few of those painted samples come through, haven't we? So excited to show them off. We have, and it's some interesting news for the A3 as well. Again, on our YouTube channel, we have an interview with LNER historian Tony Wright and Dave Milett, our exclusives manager as well, taking a really in-depth look at the samples for the O-Gauge A3s. So if you really like your LNER Pacifics or you're an O-Gauge modeler, check that out after today's live stream. That's it. If you click onto our YouTube channel, you can watch that right now and it'll tide you over while you're waiting to check out those A4 body shells. David Costin asks, how's the roof coming along? Yeah, we've had a bit of maintenance going on with the roof at Hattons HQ at the moment, so I think it's all sorted now. But I think we'll have to look for a roof news session. Hattons roof news. Model railway and roof news. New Junction asks, is there any news on the Hogsmeade Class 800 test train coach pack? They are down as coming in summer 2019, which can mean anything up to about September or so. As soon as we get a more definitive date on those coming through, we'll add it to our website, and everyone with an email or an alert there as well, we will let you know. Excellent. It's 800s are still, and test trains, it really is, like, you know, it's still talk of the time at the moment, isn't it? It's really coming through, especially after last week's live stream. And if you are a fan of the Intercity Express trains, the Class 800s, check out last week's live stream, as we had some great news regarding N-Gauge and double O-Gauge models there. Exactly. We've got Lakota, if I pronounce this wrong, I'm very sorry. Lakota Throughout. You guys are great and I love the videos. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. When is the O-Gauge A4 video expected? So it really depends on when we get working samples of the models through to do a video on those, really. So yes. We've got painted body shells, as I mentioned, which will be going out next week. And then hopefully sometime in the future we could get a video done on the A4s as well. As soon as we get those through, keep an eye on our social media channels and our website, and all the latest news will be on there. John Warner asks, is there any recent news on Dapol's N-Gauge Class 50? Now, I believe they're on the way to us. We've not had anything fully confirmed, but we believe they are in production now, possibly even on the way from China to the UK. So again, as soon as we get a bit of information there, we'll feed it back to you, and it should be on a Platform 1, hopefully sooner rather than later as well. It's looking pretty good for N-Gauge models at the moment, isn't it? Obviously, we've had these special announcements of these new Metcalf kits today. We've also had the announcement, the update for Dapol about the new HIA and bogie bolster wagons, which are coming in very, very shortly. And of course, the Class 50, and there's quite a lot of stuff coming through. Well, the Class 50s are expected very soon in 4 different liveries, and they are available to pre-order now as well. So if you can't wait for one, get that pre-order in, and we'll send it out to you as soon as we get them. That's it. Seanford asks, is there any updates on the Real Track 156? And it was due last month.
We've had the East Midlands Trains version. We are still waiting for the provincial version, the original livery carried by the class. And we haven't a date exactly when they're going to come through, but we don't expect it to be too long now, within the next couple of months or so. But again, they are available to pre-order now, and all 5 variations of the provincial livery with different destinations and running numbers are available to view on our website.
And if you are looking to buy a Class 156, we do have some great content out there on our YouTube channel about it as well, so you can take a look at the East Midlands model in full detail there. It's a cracking model, isn't it, really?
It really is. It's absolutely exquisite with a high level of detail. Check out the East Midlands video that Jack just recommended. You can see every detail in there and the operating methods as well. And that will be replicated on the provincial model, just in a different colour.
Exactly. Something for BR modelers there as well. Based Knopfler says, do you guys have any information about Hogsmeade's new 4464 Bittern? He's one of the lucky few that's pre-ordered it, and he's wondering if there's any news on possible release date for it.
That is down for late summer. The Bittern, the LNER Class A4 with 2 tenders, as it currently is at Margate as well. The latest we've had is late summer for those. But again, take a look at our latest listings, and as soon as we get something more definitive, we'll update it there and let you know.
Brilliant. Andrew Bootles says, hi guys, what starter set would you think would be good for a 5-year-old, as he'd love to get him started in the hobby? So there's a lot of choice out there at the moment, really, and there's a few options that you could really go for depending on what you want to do. One option could be Hornby's Junior train set. Now, it's quite a simple way to get started in the hobby, and it's really great for kids because it's a lot of plastic construction. It's a lot safer to use and stuff. That comes with an oval plastic track, which is just clipped together. It's really easy to set up. And you get a multiple unit train that comes with it. I believe you can get it in like a almost Virgin-esque red and white livery, and you can get it in a special Paddington Bear livery. And that also comes with some nice little card kits that you can construct to make your own little scene. So I think it comes with like a station building and a tunnel, and you get a few bits of like power pylons, trees and stuff. And it comes in at a very cheap price tag, doesn't it?
Both of those are available to order now at around the £30 mark, and you can see those on our website. If you search for Hornby Junior, both of those sets will come up. But if you do fancy something a little bit further down the line, we do offer our own starter bundle as well, which includes everything you need to get started on a model railway. So it includes a Hornby train set with a Caledonian Bell steam locomotive. It includes the track, the controller, a station building with full platform there as well, and also a beginner's guide and DVD. And that's checkable if you search our website for Hattons bundles. You'll find that on there. It's £65 for the bundle, and that includes everything you need to get started. And the best tip I'll give as well is ask the questions too. We've got a team here, customer experience team, who's really capable of getting you started in model railways too. They know all the answers to all the questions, so get in touch with them either by giving us a call, popping into the shop, an email or a Facebook message, and we can help you get started. So
there's plenty of options if you want to go for full fat railway modelling, or even just a simpler train set as well, like with the Hornby Junior. And it's just really great to hear that you're getting your 5-year-old into it. It's great to have more younger people and kids getting into the hobby, so that we'll keep going for generations to come. Spicy Alfredo says, that's an interesting name by the way, are you guys planning to bring back your bargain of the week videos? Potentially that's something we could look at, but we will also be featuring our like hottest bargains within Platform 1 as well, so do keep an eye on the stream for that. And I think we've got time for 1 or 2 more questions, but we are going to have to unfortunately wrap up shortly, I think. King Ori asks, just checking that 009 does run on N-gauge track, right? So it technically does, but yes. Pico does also offer 009 specific track, which is a little bit more realistic because it's got the proper sleeper space and it's the correct height as well, but it technically is the same width as N-gauge. It is. If you have a little bit of N-gauge track now and want to get started in 009 modelling, you're more than welcome to, but if you want the correct looking track, have a look at the 009 track, both of which is available on our website as well, the N-gauge and the 009 range. Right, so last bit, I'll finish off on a funny point from a Bluegrass Rail fan who says, if we get any more items to show off, we're going to have to buy a bigger table. And I think we are going to have to. I think we are. Right, so I think that's everything for this week. Just all I'd like to say is thank you all very, very much for joining us for the second episode of Platform 2. It's been great to have you here and all your fantastic comments, and we hope you really enjoyed the show.
Thanks for coming, guys. See you again soon.
See you again.